whoa, like this could be, you could make this song into like a completely plena old like reggae en español type
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And that's cool that it's nice to know that we do have an identity as Panamanians and as Latin people playing metal music, because it would be unfortunate and kind of boring if our voice was just trying to emulate Europeans or North Americans.
I also think that, I mean, if it comes natural, I mean, the way we write music, the way we just
Mm.
write songs
Mhm.
is we don't push anything. So it just comes out natural. And depending on the moment we're living or whatever is happening at the moment. So it's not like we have like an agenda, like, okay, now the next album is going to sound like this or like that. We jam a lot. That's how we write songs. So if in the jamming something like that comes up, then it's welcome.
Welcome to the Bleeding Metal podcast. Today I'm in Hamburg with ALPHAWHORES. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Massiel. I'm the drummer and singer.
I am Juan Carlos. I play guitar and I sing as well.
This is the second to last show of your tour.
Exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
And it's also your second headliner tour in Europe.
Exactly. Yes. First time was last year.
Yeah. This is incredible. The band has been around for about 5 years, I think.
Exactly.
Almost,
yes.
Yeah. And you have already put out 2 albums, 2 headliner tours around Europe. It's going really well for you. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much.
Have you been enjoying all the travel?
Definitely. It's not for everybody, but we seem to love it. And we're a crew of between 4 and 6 people, depending on where we are. And it's like a little family. We have each other's backs in the good times and the bad times. And it's such a good experience.
Yes. Sometimes it can be a little hard, to travel like this so far from home. But then when we perform and we see people's reactions and people's faces and how they enjoy our music, it's just the most amazing feeling in the world.
Of course. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing in Panama City.
Well, in my case, I grew up surrounded by music. My father and my mother, they love music. My dad is a music collector. My brother is a musician too. So it was just like a natural thing, I think. And I was like 6 years old when I was like, I want to play drums. And then first I started playing different instruments. I started playing organ and guitar and then self-taught drums. And the last thing I learned was how to sing. And I started writing songs at 12 years old, more or less, and playing in bands since I was 17 years old. And then I met Poti when I came back from the UK studying music, actually. We met when we were like 24, 25 years old, more or less.
Yeah, I come from a completely different type of family. Nobody wanted me to be a musician or enjoyed rock music or anything. In Panama, in the early 80s when we were born, there was a few networks on TV. One of them was MTV, American MTV. And for some reason, I would just gravitate to that and I would watch. I remember watching CC Top was my favorite first band. And I remember looking at those things, and from an early age, I was like, "This is cool. There's something about this." So I never really gave it up. My first guitar, I got it asking 6 people in my family to give me $25 for my birthday, so I can buy $150 Chinese guitar, and that was my first guitar, and that's how I started. Nirvana was a big influence. Early 90s, being 11, 12, 13. So we started not playing together, but started experimenting with instruments around the same time, and here we are now.
Right. To me, it's always super interesting to learn from Latin American artists when the time was that you started to listen to heavier music, because in Latin America, of course, we do get all of those influences as well, but we also have a strong pop culture, a strong salsa, merengue, cumbia, etc.
Tropical, yes.
Exactly. Was there someone specific that gave you the input, or how did you find it?
It was my dad, definitely. My earliest memories was my dad playing me records of Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I mean, my dad had me, and he played me Pink Floyd The Wall movie when I was like 5 years old. I mean, it was like, I mean, nowadays I ask him like, how did you do? Like, why did you do that? He was like, it was okay, you know. And I mean, it turned out all right, I think. So yeah, it was in my family. When I was little, I used to love pop music, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and also a lot of Mexican pop music. And I used to listen to that in my little, my first Sony. You remember that little, like stereo?
Yeah.
And my dad used to record mixtapes for me with a lot of rock in Spanish, like Soda Stereo and Anitos Verdes, and a lot of pop music as well. And then my brothers started listening to a lot of heavy metal, hair metal, you know, like Def Leppard and all of those bands. And I started getting into them as well.
For me, it was quite the opposite. Everybody was trying to be like, "Don't look at that. Don't. That's not for you." But I was definitely gravitated towards rock music and metal music. My older brother, at a moment, did start listening to bands like AC/DC and Metallica. So he had some tapes that I would kind of I would copy. You know, I would transfer and take him to school and try to show the other kids the music that I was listening to. So yeah, I was always, rebelling against the Latin music. Even though this is something we've been talking about lately, is that I think the Latin music that we grew up listening to, particularly what we call plena or the pre-reggaeton that came from Panama, I almost start listening to that in our music in a way. The way we move on stage, I think we have that.
Yeah, that rhythm.
Yeah, we definitely have that Panamanian. I don't know. Groove. Thank you. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
word. That's the right word. So yeah, it's strange, but it's there.
Yeah, I think we cannot really get rid of our roots. So it's always going to be there, even if it's not noticeable at first sight or at first listen, but that's really cool. But there are, however, other artists mixing those influences a little more obviously. I don't know if
Yeah.
you have heard of Cava Luis.
Yes, I have.
I have not.
The band is incredible.
Yes.
Very recommended. Would you think about mixing those a little more into your music at some point, or is it just not your taste?
I think we're open to anything. What surprises me is how it really got in there in a way without us even noticing. At least I didn't notice it. We've been having these conversations lately, right? About how, whoa, like this could be, you could make this song into like a completely plena old like reggae en español type stuff. And that's cool that it's nice to know that we do have an identity as Panamanians and as Latin people playing metal music, because it would be unfortunate and kind of boring if our voice was just trying to emulate Europeans or North Americans.
I also think that, I mean, if it comes natural, I mean, the way we write music, the way we just write songs is we don't push anything. So it just comes out natural. And depending on the moment we're living or whatever is happening at the moment. So it's not like we have like an agenda, like, okay, now the next album is going to sound like this or like that. We jam a lot. That's how we write songs. So if in the jamming something like that comes up, then it's welcome.
Because you also obviously have many different influences. One of the things that surprised me the most, but also the song that gets stuck in my head the most, because I knew it before, was the Hot Chip cover that you that you did.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it's super groovy. What would be the band or the artist that you listen to that you think no one would associate with you?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I love
With
Luis.
you.
I love Luis Miguel.
Well, there you go. That's a good one.
No one would ever imagine that I love him. I think he's the greatest male voice in Latin America for sure. I think he's just fantastic, especially during the 80s, the early 90s era of his. If you see his videos singing live, it's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I don't think anybody would ever imagine that I like Luis Miguel. I have a playlist of my favorite songs. What about you?
I wish I had such a cool answer like that one, but the one thing that comes to mind is maybe Cranberries. I love the Cranberries. I don't think people would think that I love the Cranberries. Yeah, yeah. I'm absolutely love them so much. So yeah, that would be my
Nice.
answer.
Yeah, perfect. We were just saying in the beginning that you've been living your dream, headlining a tour through Europe the second time. What would be your advice for up and coming bands all over the world, but especially in Latin America?
Oh, we have a lot of things to say to that. Uh,
Maybe we shouldn't say all of them.
yeah. Well, this is a tough business. And if you want to commit to it, like we always talk about this, Poti and I, and even with our manager, it's about the songs. That's the most important thing. Nothing like no mockery, no tale that you invent to stand out or makeup or like how do you play or how good you are. That doesn't matter. What matters is the songs. If you have a good song, if you have a group of great songs and you know it, and other people and also, important people acknowledge that and confirms that, then you should go for it. If you have something special going on, that's basically it. You have to focus on that. People are in bands just to be cool, like, oh, this is so cool and let's go on tour and like go party. We don't do any of that. This is not about, partying or anything. After this, we're going to bed. Rock and roll life is not like the Motley Crue movie, it's not like that. So I think if you want to do this, you have to really, really, really want this, and with all of the good and bad. But basically, is work on the songs. That's what I always tell new artists and young people in Panama that are making music and are making bands.
Mhm.
I would like to add to that something that I think, thank God we have. Before we went to bed last night, we were talking about this.
Yes.
We have a connection and trust and admiration and respect for each other as musicians and as friends and as best friends. And I think if we didn't have that, I was telling her, I was like, even if the songs existed and we had the connection, the work ethic, I know I can trust her with my life. She knows she can trust me with her life. And I think that's very important too. And the more people you have in a band, it gets a little bit more difficult to have that harmony. So when there's bands with like, more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 musicians, I'm like, whoa, that they can make it work. That is a miracle. And it's even a miracle for us to do what we do and the way that we do it. So I'm grateful every day to be in a band with my best friend here.
Yes, we were talking about that last night, like Poti said, and we were thinking that we're so lucky, to have found each other, not only being best friends, but only creatively, having that kind of bonding. And there's a point where we are like, okay, this is it.
It's very much like the planets aligned for us, and
Exactly.
you were the person, and I was the person, or something, because we played with so many people, and we love the people that we've played with, and there's been some magic with that, but with this is different. I would bet my entire life on this band because of what I have with her.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have what we have. It's not common.
Yeah.
Definitely not something that you find like with just anybody.
Yeah. And something else that is not so common is that in your lineup, you are the gender representation ideal. You have one of each.
Yes, yes.
Right?
That's very important.
Yes,
Yes.
it is really important. And especially in the metal community, this is something I really love to talk about. We need to have more and more women in metal, more diverse lineups on stages, on festivals, and also behind the scenes in the crew.
Yes. Sound engineers, everything.
Sound engineers, light engineers, but also illustrators for cover arts, etc. Is that something you think about when you choose the people you work with?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes. Actually, even Poti listens to more bands that are female leading more than me. So I think that is something that is very important for Poti. It is very important for me, but I think when I was younger, I was trying to look for that reference and that influence from bands that were women led. And now I like just the music, and I don't care if who writes it, who performs it. But definitely is very important for us to have that in mind. In 2026, still people after our shows are like, wow, like this is the first time I've seen a female drummer live, and girls come up to me and they're like, I'm learning, or like, I am a drummer also and I want to drum and sing. Like, what would you advise? Like, what would you tell me? And I mean, that's, for me, that's like super special, you know?
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes.
What are your favorite women in music then?
My favorite women in music? Oh, there's so many. Well, right now I'm listening to Dice Spitz a lot. What are the new girls? Amel and the Sniffers. Oh my God, I love her so much. And there's so many. Literally, most of the bands that I listen to are either female led or there's females in the band. But it's really not because I'm trying to be inclusive. It's because I find it more interesting. It's because when I was growing up, it's just been a bunch of guys. You know, a lot of testosterone, and now. A lot of white guys, exactly. And now I find it what the women bring, sometimes with men, sometimes by themselves. I feel like in the 80s and maybe even the 90s, when a band was all women, it was in a category called women band. You know what I mean? And I think that's changed a lot. Now it's a band. And I think, again, to me, I feel like the most interesting music that's being written and put out today definitely have women in it, not just metal or rock. And she knows it's all I listen to. And I find women's vocals also a little bit more interesting nowadays.
A friend of mine in Nashville actually told me that he liked more bands that have a woman singing because of the distortion combined with the girls' vocals, like you just said. It sounds like more. It sounds more interesting. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, if you want to get geeky about it, the women tend to have higher registers, so the higher frequencies that are usually occupied by cymbals or ugly guitar sounds. Now, if you put a female vocal up there, it has more harmony. The spectrum of the frequencies are more complete, I find.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's geeky audio engineer stuff.
Awesome. Fun facts.
Yeah.
Yes, and fun fact, the name of the band is
Yes.
a wordplay that I love about a sweet from Latin America. Do you have a favorite alfajor from all of Latin America?
Dulce de leche, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
same.
Will we
Yes.
ever get them alfajores branded?
We've been talking
Or
about
on
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we had that conversation like yesterday or something. So and yeah, it's funny how that's been coming up in the past 24 hours. It's like
Yes.
the third time that like somebody's talking about like that needs to be on the merch table.
It's a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time.
No,
Have
thank
a
you.
wonderful gig.
Thanks to you. It was lovely meeting you. Thank you.